Hi everyone, welcome back to Mike on Mike. Today we'll be checking out the movies that came out on Friday, Ice Cream Man, One Night Only, and Super Troopers 3, and seeing if they popped or flopped. And here are the results from Friday. So One Night Only is actually in third place with $5 million, and Super Troopers 3 is in fourth place. Very surprising. And Ice Cream Man down in eighth place. Let's check out One Night Only first. Made $5 million. Jesus. What did I say? I said I said flop a 10 million. Made half of that. And then number 13, and it came in third place. You gotta admit, that's really impressive. Wow, I'm very impressed by that. And I'm also impressed by Super Troopers 3. I said it was gonna flop, and I guess it did. Oh, well, it did flop. $4 million. I said it was gonna be number 12. I am so surprised. 10 million. I said I made four. Wow. So okay. I can't believe it. Wow. Name recognition or something got it to number 4. Is this for real? Okay, you gotta give it to them. That's really good. Good job, Broken Lizard. Didn't do amazing. It could be, the reality could be that the budget is really low, like 500,000 or a million, or it could be his own money. Broken Lizard, whatever. So that's interesting. And then Ice Cream Man in eighth place. I can't believe it. With $2 million. You gotta give it up to this Eli Roth. He did it to 2 million. That's it. Wow. I said it was gonna flop. I said I was gonna flop at 3 million. Okay, well I was really close on that, but way off on. I said number 20. I can't believe this. What do you guys think about this? That's crazy. One Night Only is in third place. It's an interesting idea, but I think it creates more questions. Super Troopers 3, that is expected in a way, but I did not expect that. I thought top 10 maybe, or whatever, you know what I mean? But a fourth place is impressive. And then Ice Cream Man in eighth place. One Night Only is the first one we can check out. It looks like, surprisingly, that it came in third place. It must have it doesn't look terrible, but yeah, I just think that the premise creates more problems. Like more questions. You're like, wait, what? Like, did they vote on this? Is this the entire Earth? Just New York City? Just the US? You know what I mean? 6.4 stars, so that's good. 36 reviews, 6.4 stars. Reviewers say One Night Only delivers one of the best romantic comedies in years, with undeniable chemistry between leads Monica Barbaro and Callum Turner, creating a charming, hilarious experience filled with consistent laughs and feel-good moments. However, the film's implausible dystopian premise proves divisive, with many struggling to suspend disbelief despite the originality. The writing received mixed reactions, and while most found it engaging, some felt frustrated by messy storytelling that doesn't fully explore its fresh concept. It's literally The Purge for lovers. Why didn't this come out in February during all these horror movies, and then they do a Valentine horror movie? Yeah, this is interesting. However, the film's implausible dystopian premise proves divisive. They should have just changed it to a sort of like a love contest or something, or a couples contest, and then they just have till midnight to basically become a couple or something like that. There are 36 of them. First one is 6 out of 10. Fun concept, great chemistry. So it says premarital sex is now illegal with the exception of one night per year. This is the concept of director Will Gluck's new rom-com, One Night Only. He has mostly directed movies that focus on the dynamics of sex and relationships, such as Anyone But You and Easy A, which I really like, which is one of my favorite of his. His newest is his strangest one yet. Think of it like this. If The Purge was about murder, One Night Only is about singles getting it on. It features Owen, played by Callum Turner, the owner of a pizza shop, who gets basically dumped by his girlfriend Malika. He is tired of the celibacy mandate the U.S. government has enforced. So they actually say that. They actually do say the reason. Wow. See, that is ridiculous. They should have just said there's a couples contest. Meanwhile, Allie is a hopeless romantic who sings jingles for pharmaceutical drugs. She's just hoping to find a good guy. This being a romantic comedy, there's a constant will they, won't they vibe throughout the runtime. I feel like it would have been better if they didn't. You know what I mean? I think it would have came off a little bit easier. I love whenever they share the screen. The music is fun, sometimes funny. Funnily enough, this movie takes place on August 7th. 2026? There's a specific date? Wait, what? The day this movie was released, as well as my birthday. Wow, what the heck? It's a commentary on hookup culture, dating apps, and the modern dating landscape. Hellscape. Oh, okay. Now, overall, you can view One Night Only in one of two ways. The first being the fascist, conservative, anti-sex movie that's masquerading as a horny rom-com. That's interesting. The second being the fun rom-com with two good-looking leads who have amazing chemistry, with a few fun cameos sprinkled in for good measure, including a not-so-well-fleshed-out concept. I'm intent on swiping right on the latter, at the risk of having too many sexual innuendos. Sometimes it's not that deep. Okay, this is a nice review. Pretty hilarious. I'm not sure about this. Yeah, you could look at it in two different ways. I'm not sure, but yeah, this is a good one, and it looks like it's good enough or acceptable enough that people are fine with it. This guy gave it 10 out of 10, saying really funny and amazing chemistry. So I saw the bad reviews going into this, and I was braced for a bad movie, but with nothing else to see but Spider-Man, which I've already seen twice. I decided to go. I thought pretty much the entire movie, and I thought what? Oh, I laughed pretty much the entire movie, and I thought it was definitely a love story comedy with destiny showing that there are no coincidences. Okay, cool. And then this guy gave it 9 out of 10, saying wonderful nonsense. This was the silliest, most preposterous movie that I've ever seen, and I loved every minute of it. It's difficult to find a movie that isn't a sequel to a cartoon, another sci-fi movie with grotesque special effects, or an endless long one that should have an intermission. You know which one I mean. But this one was perfect in tone and length. It starts with the premise that Congress had passed a really stupid law. They actually acknowledge it that specifically. Wow. So this has to be political, because if it's a Republican president, that, you know what I mean, or whatever. I don't even think Trump would do this. You think Trump would do this? Outlaw sex? Is it that really hard to believe? If you need a comedy break from the nonsense that's happening in the world, try this movie. I feel like this, I don't know. I feel like this is just making fun of politics in general, because it's like, let's pass another stupid law to regulate something that's natural. You know what I mean? I don't know. That's my point of view of this. Not liberal, not Republican, but the fact that we keep outlawing and banning things that are natural or we have a right to do or whatever type of a thing. This guy gave it 10 out of 10. Unique rom-com. Let's see. One Night Only is a delightful surprise. It has a wonderfully original premise and makes the most of it, delivering laughs from beginning to end while still telling a genuinely engaging and heartfelt romantic story. Callum Turner and Monica Barbaro have fantastic chemistry together, and Monica in particular is absolutely wonderful. I could watch her in anything. Their relationship feels natural, charming, and full of those little moments that make a rom-com work. The physical comedy is hilarious, the dialogue is witty, and the heartfelt moments never feel forced. It's funny, sweet, romantic, and just incredibly easy to love. One of the best romantic comedies I've seen in years. I had a huge smile on my face throughout. Absolutely loved it. Here's a low one, I guess. 2 out of 10. Truly unique experience. This is quite possibly the worst rom-com ever made. If you can get past the very unrealistic premise of the movie, the journey and storytelling are even worse. I found myself in disbelief and honestly irritated as I was watching it. Do yourself a favor and just keep this all together. It's really not worth it. Just skip this altogether. It's not worth it. I know. That's interesting. Unrealistic premise. Even if somebody forced it, no one's going to vote on that. Like what? Oh, let's outlaw sex. All right. Hey, we got over 50% of the country to vote for no sex. I'm on the side that is a totally unbelievable premise. I mean, I they should have just they could have just done the purge and just like, you know, gone off gone after like whatever sex offenders, you know what I mean? Or something like that. I don't know. I feel like that could have maybe worked a little bit better. Rotten Tomatoes over here has it at 45% from the critics and then 70% from the audience. So that's kind of cool. Critics consensus says hampered by a high concept premise that's full of red flags. One that only has charming moments thanks to its appealing stars, but keeps killing the mood with world building that prompts more questions and the script is willing to answer. That's exactly what I said. It literally like I just want to find out more about this. Who's president? Are there civil wars? Do you know how many resistance groups, like people who are like against this, they're like this that's going to be created from this? Like I don't know. Well, let's just do the purge premise about sex. Okay, the government passed a law to outlaw sex. Okay, that's a very complicated premise. I think they just should have done the National Couples Night uh, contest. That's it. Critics reviews Muriani Rawls from Substream magazine says it's rotten. One that only deduces that in order to combat a sensitive subject, we willingly subside into a surveillance state where pleasure is microdosed, commodified, and Sarah Bareilles' Brave is remixed to sell you meds. That's what I'm saying. Like it they're not even commenting on whether or not it's like actually like the love part. I see everybody talking about like the premise, and I think that's not good. And then Brittany Frederick from TVBrittanyF.com says it is fresh, A minus. One Night Only is a charming surprise of the summer. The movie has far more to offer than its quirky premise, starting with lively performances from leads Monica Barbaro and Callum Turner. Gosh, I just feel like it's just such a distracting premise. You know, this person is trying to not be distracted and comment on the movie and the acting and stuff, but it's like, I don't know. I don't think it was a good premise for a love movie. It's way too complicated, and it creates so many more questions. Very strange. I think this is based off a book. No, I don't know. I thought this one was based off a book or something. And then Sarah Vincent from Sarah G. Vincent Views says it is rotten. A great premise is wasted on two boring characters with almost no chemistry, and will leave you doubting whether Turner is even attractive, even if you came in a fan of Bar. What? If you even came in a fan, or Barbara can even sing. Whoa, okay. Now this is believable. Um, she's saying that there's no chemistry between the actors. That is surprising because a lot of people are saying that though, which is strange. And then Sean P. Means from the movie Cricket says it is rotten, 1.5 out of 4. Actually did a right number there, 1.5 out of 4 is rotten. Usually someone at the studio or among the producers would strangle a bad idea like this one in the crib. I don't know about that. They put out some dumb movies rather than feed it and let it grow into a full-scale terrible movie. Wait, what? Usually someone at the studio would strangle an idea like this rather than feed it and let it go. Oh, I see. Well, I don't know. I think The Bride had kind of a similar thing or whatever. There's a lot of examples. This is kind of a weird one to say. And then Andrew Parker from The Gate says it is rotten, 5 out of 10. Okay. I laughed and I admire the things that work, but this movie is an obvious mess that either wasn't thought out or thought through enough before it went to camera, or it had too much cut from it along the way. Oh no. I disagree with things being cut. It's just the premise is too big, way too big of a premise. The Avengers would come in, you know what I mean? The Justice League would show up, like, you know what I'm saying? Captain America, he wouldn't like this, you know what I mean? The movie was just wouldn't be a rom com. They'd be like, wait, why are we falling in love here? Let's go take down the government, right? I don't know. I mean, unless it's in the world of the Purge, and if these people go out and do stuff that are things that are bad on when the Purge day comes around, they're gonna get killed, you know, on that day of whenever that happens. I'm not sure if this is a world of government control universe or something. I don't know. I like the idea that this is a movie making fun of the ridiculous like how far we're willing to go and what like we're gonna control, basically, like to outlaw sex. I think it's so silly. Do you know how many people would have voted for that? Like, who would have not voted? You know, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Who would have had to have voted for that? It's bizarre. I don't know. I think there'd be so much pushback. No one's gonna sign up for this. No one's gonna vote for this. No one's gonna give in to this or sign up for this. I think that is a fact. And then I guess the last one here will be Elise Chaffins from the Dominion Post. It says it's rotten, 1.5 out of 5. If you're going to make no sex the cornerstone of your entire film, you had better be willing to engage with the seriousness of what that means for real. I agree. Yeah, I think people are going to be so stressed, and then people are going to do it. That's the thing. And then if you do it, you broke the law, you get killed or go to jail. I just don't understand that. There's so many issues with this premise. Instead, this movie uses this fascistic setup for a cutesy rom-com that is itself a disappointment. Yes, I agree. I don't think this is a good. I mean, yeah, I haven't seen it. I don't get how would my focus be on the movie when I'm just like, whoa, wait, how does that work? How does this work? How does that work, right? And now just a few audience reviews. Bonnie L gave it 1, 2, 3, 4 and 4 stars, saying better than I thought it would be. Though it's hard to come up with a fresh idea for a romantic comedy, this one came close. Just it just needed to be a local contest. That's it. No one would have cared. Oh, cool. These two characters are falling in love or whatever for a contest. Okay. You wouldn't think of anything else. You're not going to be like, wait, who voted on this contest? Half of New York voted on this contest? Yeah, whatever, right? Or whatever. Or if the law is even local. If it's just a state law, this looks like it's an entire country law, right? Which means, I mean, you know the people in like San Francisco didn't pass it, right? You know that people in Portland didn't pass it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just this creates way more issues than they were expecting. And then TW gave it 1, 2, 3, 4 stars, saying One Night Only is another success by this director, funny and heartfelt and worth watch. Is that real? Do you believe that? I don't believe this. T the man. Maybe. I don't know, maybe. I'm sure some people are going to look past it, but I think it's just, you're going to be like, wait, what? Who voted on this? You'd be like, this is stupid. I'm done. I'm out, right? Penny X gave it 1 star, saying, this is, I believe, the worst movie I've ever watched. It was unfunny, borderline uncomfortable. I saw the movie with a friend, and it was so bad that we had to leave, not even halfway through the movie. The premise of the movie alone is terrible. Exactly. This is exactly what I said. That's unfortunate. You know, Callum Turner didn't need this. He's like an up-and-coming actor. And the Barbaro, I guess she's upcoming. I know more of Callum Turner, and I liked Eternity. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I feel like this is not a good This doesn't help either of these actors. You know, I haven't even seen many people comment about their performance. Like, is Callum Turner believable? Is Barbaro believable? Like, some people have said it a little bit, but I think most people are confused about the premise. Dave J gave it 1, 2, 3, 4 stars, saying an enjoyable, entertaining romantic comedy with an interesting premise. Certainly formulaic with a good number of laughs. Great way to beat the heat on a sweltering August day. Now think about that. See, I don't even understand that. This guy never saw The Purge. But he didn't even have one question about who voted for this. I don't get it. Is this worldwide? Did all the presidents and leaders decide for them to vote on one major leader for Earth? And they passed this global law or something? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I think we're good on these audience reviews and critics reviews for the movie. We can go back to the page here for my final thoughts. We can also go down here and then check out if there's anything else here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Very strange. Sexual material, language, and brief nudity. Sexual material. It's sexual content, though, and the actual sex. There technically wouldn't be. There can't be. If we see people having sex on screen, the next thing we're going to expect is the door to bust down and the SWAT and the government to come in, right? I don't understand that. Here's, okay. Here we go. I read this one already, but it says for the trivia, this film takes place in the same universe as Will Gluck's previous film, Anyone But You. When Maya Hawke's character shows a picture of their hot neighbor, it is a Glenn Powell. When Owen is scrolling through the hookup app, he see one of his matches, Sydney Sweeney. They were both in the leads in Anyone But You. So let me check out Anyone But You. Is this another one of these movies where it's like an end of the world movie? After an amazing first date, Bia and Ben's fiery attraction turns ice cold until they find themselves unexpectedly reunited at a wedding in Australia. So do they want any two mature... So they do what any two mature adults would do, pretend to be a couple. Well, that sounds like what this movie should have been. Are you... Oh. Okay. Do you see this? Do you see, like, if... Okay, reword this one. After an amazing first I don't even know, public date, Bia and Ben's fire attraction turns ice cold when the government steps in and makes a law where they have to be together or both die. So they do what any two mature adults would do, pretend to be a couple. There, right? They're faced with the death penalty for not being together because a new law got passed. There you go. That just converts Anyone But You into a huge premise. But except when you look at this is a small premise. We're at a wedding in Australia. Okay. And then they pretend to be together. And they probably turn out that they like each other, right? That's what this movie should have been. That's literally what One Night Only, what this movie should have been. Yeah, that is unfortunate. Well, I don't know what to say, but yeah, this movie would have done okay without the premise. They should have just done a local contest. I mean, it would have been like One Night Only. We have to pretend to be together to win a contest. That would have been it. There's a simple little premise like that. So anyways, in the end, this One Night Only, I guess, unfortunately flopped. And I guess now the budget is here. It says $25 million budget. That's unfortunate. It made $5 million worldwide, nothing overseas. I did say it was going to flop with $10 million, and it made half of that. It actually, I said it was going to be top 15, specifically number 13, and I also cannot believe it that it did get in the top 5, specifically third place. Super Troopers 3 is the next film. It actually, let's see, it flopped 4 million. That's unfortunate. I said it was going to flop at 5 million and be number 20. And I believe it is in number eighth place, I believe, which is pretty surprising. Oh, I'm actually mean fourth place. My bad. The other movie, Ice Cream Man, is in eighth. So that's, I don't know. I'm glad that it got into the top 10. I guess top 5, which is very. That's great. Even though it didn't do well, maybe I don't know if it's gonna be able to. It doesn't say its budget yet. I mean, it could be cheap. The second one was crowdfunded or whatever. So I mean, this could be these guys' money. Kevin Heffernan is doing the Tacoma FD, I think, but they all have other shows and stuff. So they must have some type of money available to fund a movie, which means this could have popped then. If the budget is low, it's just not out. But it made 4 million, so I don't know. I feel like the budget would be like 15 or something. I don't know, but could be less. So until they publicly disclose that, we're not going to really know. So we're going to just go with that. This movie flopped with 4 million, nothing overseas, which I guess is expected. And it did come in fourth place, which is just, I mean, that is really surprising. That's good. At least people are going to be able to see it when they go to the movie theater and actually be like, if they didn't, because I didn't see any promos for this. I didn't see anything going on. I saw a few things on TikTok, whatever commercial, but I didn't see anything of like if I were them, I would have gone out and pulled people over and given them a ticket, and it would have been a movie ticket, which I ended up doing in a TikTok video. But I would have actually done it. I would have pulled people over, leaving the movie theater, or maybe you have people can call in and they have a real friend who's a real fan of Super Troopers, and these people go find them and they kind of, plan it out, whatever, and they set it up. And then that guy gets a ticket, and it's a movie ticket from the cast of Broken Lizard, and then promoted it that way or something. Or, yeah, I don't know. Or set up a sting operation, a jokey sting operation at a location. And then these 3 cops arrive, the actors, and they bust them, quote unquote, fake bust them, and then arrest them and just let them off with movie tickets and just promote the movie that way. It could have been more fun, but yeah, anyways, I didn't see any ads for this movie. I saw a little bit, not really. Every time I do this show, I look for the future movies that are coming out, and I've seen Super Troopers 3, and I said, wow, that movie has a really big fan. I think a lot of people like that from back in the day. It should be a hit, but I guess unfortunately not. Here are some of the reviews. 7 out of 10. The funniest Super Troopers yet. Super Troopers 3 brings the Broken Lizard crew back to the big screen with all the charm, ridiculous humor, and rambunctious energy fans have come to expect. Farva once again finds himself at the center of the comedy, both driving much of the film's humor and becoming the target of some of its funniest bits, while the story focuses less on the policing aspect this time around. The film still delivers its share of action, even if those moments don't feel quite as grand or dramatic as they could. For me, personally, this might be the funniest entry in the series, with plenty of genuinely laugh-out-loud moments. That said, some of the enjoyment may come from the experience of seeing these characters back on the big screen, and for me, the first time seeing them in a theater. I agree, as well as giving this guy, Jay Chandrasekhar, his props for doing this. Being in all 3, writing all 3, and directing all 3. Also with the Heffernan guy, but I'm just saying, Jay Chandrasekhar, you got to give that guy his props. I mean, this is incredible that he's done this, didn't sell it out to a big studio to come in and ruin it. If it wasn't good or didn't do well, that's, I guess, acceptable or passable, Because I think he could have been a sellout or could have sold out to Hollywood, and he didn't. So I think that's a very important thing. This one says 8 out of 10, much better than 2. This was worth the watch. Better than 2, basically on par with 1. This movie is about what you would expect following 1, and a lot better than you have expected following 2. They give you hope for a 4th. Don't get me wrong, it's very stupid, but the humor works, and ultimately it's worth the watch. I think they should stop at 4. I mean 3, sorry. Then just have a nice, a nice straightforward trilogy, and yeah, and I think that'd be good. Because the 4th one could be really bad, or he sells out for that one, you know. But I think the guy's a good guy, whatever, something like that. So, um, yeah, like, because it would have to be like the money is so much. Like, they give him like $200 million, and then they get the movie rights from him or something. And then that would even sever him and the fans, uh, it'd be really bad, I think. This one is 8 out of 10. Lame comedy done right. You really have to be in the right mood for a movie like Super Troopers 3. If you're looking for something serious or sophisticated, this definitely isn't it. But if you're ready to turn your brain off, relax, and enjoy some ridiculous comedy, I found it really entertaining. The movie actually reminded me a lot of those old Police Academy movies from the 80s and 90s. It has that same kind of goofy, over-the-top humor where some of the jokes are completely stupid, but that's also part of what makes it fun. What surprised me was that there was actually a decent storyline behind all of the nonsense. For this type of comedy, the plot wasn't bad at all and did a good job keeping the movie moving between all the jokes and ridiculous situations. There were plenty of moments where I found myself laughing simply because of how absurd everything was. See, I was saying that the plot could be a little bit annoying for people, but at the same time, it's simple. It's a simple premise for the movie to take place in. This continues saying it's definitely not going to be everyone's type of humor, and you really need to know what you're getting into. But as a stupid comedy that's completely aware of what it is, I thought it worked. It was funny, entertaining, nostalgic in a strange way, and much better than I expected. If you enjoy the earlier Super Trooper films or those classic Police Academy style comedies, you'll probably have a good time with this one. I could even go further and actually include the Naked Gun that just came out. That's to me is even funnier. Like the jokes, it's a different type of style. It's parody or spoofy, but it's like a joke like a minute or like every second, I would say. This guy gave it 7 out of 10, saying great comedy all around. And this guy gave it 5 out of 10, saying this could have been a great film, but as a long-time fan of Broken Lizard's work, I've always appreciated that, like any good writing team, some ideas hit the mark while others don't quite land. Unfortunately, Super Troopers 3 falls somewhere in between. The film had the potential to be a solid, funny addition to the franchise. The cast certainly has the talent, and the basic premise could have delivered something worthy of the Super Troopers name. After this disappointment of Super Troopers 2, I went into this one hoping to recapture some of the magic of the original. For the first half of the film, that magic was nowhere to be found. The opening section is slow, the script feels poorly written, and the laughs are few and far between. It's frustrating because you can see how much potential the group of actors has, yet they feel largely wasted by the material. Then, around the halfway point, things finally start to click. The clever banter between the characters begins to shine, the comedy becomes more natural, and the plot finally picks up some much-needed energy. It was during the second half that I found myself enjoying the film and remembering why I liked the original film in the first place. Unfortunately, by the time the credits rolled, my main thought was, I wish that had been better. There were definitely some laughs, particularly in the second half, but the film never manages to fully recover from its weak opening. Despite my criticisms, I'd still be interested in seeing another film, a fourth one. There's clearly still chemistry and comedic potential within the cast, and I hope they get another chance or opportunity to deliver the movie fans have been waiting for. Would I watch this film again? No, but I did laugh. And I am still hoping for a Super Troopers 4. Yeah. Why don't they make like a mini one and make it for YouTube and run it past the fans and basically, let them vote on it, and then whatever, or put out some some ideas and all that, and basically let us choose them or something. Here are the Rotten Tomatoes for Super Troopers 3. The critics have it at 49%. God, from the critics. Now, this could be the fact that I don't know. I thought some people are saying that some of the critics on here can be paid off, which I don't understand that. These people have like legacy, like they have their they can't ruin themselves. People rely on them for these reviews or whatever. So, because I was just gonna say, like, oh, it's 49% from the critics because they're not Hollywood. You know what I mean? They're not, because they're all white, whatever, right? Even though the main guy is Indian, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it seems like. But then again, I mean, it could be bad though. It could actually be bad. So, here are the critics' reviews. M.N. Miller from Geek Vibes Nation says it's fresh, 6 out of 10. With Super Troopers 3, Broken Lizard has regained its Meow Joe. Oh man, well it's a good reference, I guess. So he liked it though. See, now that's good. It's rotten, whatever, but at least somebody did like it. So that's good. It's not all biased or to one side. There is actually some variation within these ratings. Eric Childress from Movie Madness Podcast Gate says it is rotten, 1 out of 4. Even as a devoted fan of Club Dread, the Super Trooper films have never measured up, and the attempts at humor seem less inspired and more desperate than ever. More desperate than ever. Well, that's possible. Patrick McDonald from HollywoodChicago.com says it is fresh, 4.5 out of 5. What am I seeing that others aren't? I ponder it every day. This is a hilarious film with several avenues that provide laughs. You think the Geek Squad would love the send-ups of Smokey, Bandit, and Star Wars, but no. Broken Lizard rules. Okay, so this guy liked it, obviously. That is pretty funny. What am I seeing that others aren't? See, I don't understand that. I mean, like, that one guy gave a good review saying it gets going after, like, the second act, or at the second act, whatever. But this, though, I mean, I guess is accept the movie for how it is, and then think about, like, what would you have written, Like, it has to be kind of within the thing. And remember, a sequel and a trilogy is kind of more of the first and second, right? So it's not like a brand new premise. It's continuing from Farva getting married. It's really not that, you know what I mean, like changed or something or altered. Colin Biggs from That Shelf says it is fresh. Nothing in Super Troopers 3 will surprise you, but it feels like a reunion with an old friend. Yeah, just like Jackass. It's like that too. That is a big thing to see these guys again. And for me, that this Jay Trendresicar did not sell out, or Farva, or Heffernan, they didn't sell out. I think that's very, very cool and very important. And then Richard Klein from Shadows on the Wall says it is fresh, 3 out of 5. Broken Lizard's movies are so packed with silly jokes that some are bound to hit the target. There you go. And the off-handed style of filmmaking keeps the audience steadily amused, even when it isn't particularly funny. So it also has like an indie feel to it. That's really cool. And some audience reviews. Larry W. gave it 1, 2, 3, 4.5, saying it was a very entertaining show. What? Show? Nice story. Well, if that's AI, he was close. The robot got what it is wrong. It's not a show, it's a movie. Unless it was a Super Trooper show? Like Jackass? I don't think there was. I think this bot just got confused on what this is, I guess. Jennifer gave it a 0.5 star, saying this movie was absolutely ridiculous and an utter waste of time. There truly is nothing good to say about it. Wow, and that's from a fan. Brandon gave it 5 stars, saying it's awesome movie, funny. It's awesome movie, funny. All right, pretty straightforward. Sprite L gave it 1.5 stars, saying, "Where are the pranks?" Where are the unsuspecting motorists just trying to make it home for dinner before getting bombarded with crazy antics? Yeah, well, that could be maybe a character arc, or maybe they don't do that anymore, but that's a good point. It doesn't feel like it. That's funny. The f- wow. I don't remember much about the second one, but it would do good if it's basically, more of the first. And then this should be more of the kind of the whole thing, but with the new Farva getting married premise. So this is an interesting point that this guy is making. And then Dolly P gave it 5 stars, saying rough humor, but good for a change from the sheltered and pathetic, soft and weak. Okay, now that's good. That's funny. And then Rob gave it 5 stars, saying this movie was almost as good as the first. The second movie was an absolute abomination. Oh wow! But this one was hilarious. Okay, wow, that's surprising actually. So, see, I don't remember much about the second one. So, personally, like I don't really actually know. Let's go down here and see if there's anything else we could check out. It is rated R for sexual content, nudity, language throughout, and drug content. And then the trivia, which I already read last episode, says Brian Cox agreed to reprise his role as Captain O'Hagan on the condition that he wouldn't have to film at night. Wow, that is so funny. And then down here are the box office results on IMDb. So 4 million overall. So yeah, unfortunately, Super Troopers 3 flopped with 4 million out of who knows what kind of a budget. I think they funded it, so it could be low. It could be Jade Chandrasekhar's money, Kevin Heffernan's money, Steve Lemmy's money. You know what I mean? So, which means it could be cheap. It could be they all put in like 25,000 each or something. I don't know. So yeah, unfortunately, Super Troopers 3 flopped with 4 million. I said it was gonna be in 20th place. Oh, and then didn't make anything overseas with a worldwide of 4 million total. This is probably going to be in the theater for the next 30 days. And yeah, and it also surprisingly came in 4th place. Ice Cream Man is the next movie, or the last movie that we'll be checking out today. So this one unfortunately flopped with, I guess the budget is now 5 million. Gosh, it's almost there. This is what I'm assuming Super Troopers 3's budget would be, or you know what I mean, low. So this domestically made 2 million, and it actually made 1 million international with 3 million total. Jesus, it couldn't even make 5 million, or whatever over that. Yeah, that's strange. This apparently is not a remake, even though it shares the exact same name. Yeah, 4 stars. It looks, a good idea, whatever. Again, I don't know why it's coming out now and not in October. I don't understand that, unless it's having to do with ice. I don't know what other tie-in it would have right now with current society. Here are the comments or reviews. There's 115 of them. And, oh yeah, so this first one, yeah, it says 1 out of 10, gore and AI. That's what people were saying on Friday, is that this movie is AI of some sort. Like Phoenix Flexen's Rubbers. You know that this big song Rubbers right now is like really in the mainstream, whatever, because this guy made it with AI, and him and his producer are pushing that the fact that they made it naturally or whatever, that he actually, like they actually produced the song or whatever. So that, now it's turning out that people are figuring out that it's AI. They're finding out. They're doing different tests and methods, and there's no stems for all his apparent vocal chain plugins, whatever, all these things that should be there and they are not there. And his explanation is starting to be very strange. But yeah, so this one, I don't know. There was a promo I saw where the guy literally said that this is not from a major studio. This is super independent. And maybe they used AI because it's independent to save money. But again, though, this has to do, more with like that. Yeah, like they didn't. I don't know. This is not part of a big studio. I'm not sure where I was going with that. Just that, like, this is AI, I guess. I don't know what part would be AI. Um, I I don't understand that. It looks like it wouldn't be AI. Why would they need AI? They got a bunch of kid actors and props and squibs, you know, and they filmed the movie. I don't understand what would be AI in it, or like what would they really need to use that for, basically. The next one is 2 out of 10, saying painful to watch. I don't mind some gore. Horror films, some gory horror films, if there is at least some good atmosphere to go with it. Take, for example, some films from Fulci or Argento, films like The Gates of Hell or Demons. They have some great practical gore effects, but are also very atmospheric and gives you chills. This film just falls flat. I am not a fan of the Terrifier films either, and believe that a film shouldn't be built around gore effects. There should be a good plot and something scary about it. To tell you the truth, this film has no atmosphere and was not scary. Just plain. And don't even get me started on acting. Yes, the aforementioned films were also schlocky with some bad acting, but again, they had some things they had some films this film lacked. All that being said, Roth has made a few good films like Green Inferno or Thanksgiving, which he's doing a second or third one for, and it's too bad he couldn't pull this one off, but go see it for yourself and form your own opinion. It sounds like to me like this guy wouldn't use AI, like, like the same way Christopher Nolan does stuff in camera. You know what I mean? Like, this guy looks like he likes filmmaking, so why would he do the AI thing? 1 out of 10, worst movie I've ever watched. 1 out of 10, again, another one. One of my worst cinema experiences. I went into this film with extremely low expectations. The trailer had already looked mediocre to me, and the terrible early reviews made me think it might at least be one of those movies that is so bad it becomes fun, like Birdemic. Or Sharknado. That's funny. They should have called it Nice Cream or something. You know what I mean? I don't know. Unfortunately, it wasn't. This was one of my worst cinema experiences in recent years. The premise actually has potential. An ice cream man causes children to turn against the adults in their town, while a group of unaffected kids tries to figure out what is happening. I literally said that. I said there's probably going to be a detective trying to figure out who's next and stop it. Which to me, that's a premise. That's literally, like, if you hit all the beats and stuff, you could do anything. It doesn't matter. It could have been ridiculous, violent, and entertaining. Instead, the movie barely has a story and feels like a series of scenes involving children killing adults with very little narrative progression. I'm sure that's probably, like, the goal or whatever from this guy. The gore is also disappointing. Considering Eli Roth's involvement, I expected much more. But also there is plenty of blood. The effects often look extremely cheap and artificial. They could have just AI'd blood. I usually love practical effects, but these look more like plastic props covered in fake blood. Some sequences even have an artificial AI-generated appearance that completely takes me out of the movie. So then they AI-generated custom stock footage. Okay, so they said, okay, extend this scene or whatever. Which, if they did that, those are things that are already in not After Effects, Premiere Pro. I feel like there's a difference between full-on AI and then AI assistance or whatever. AI influenced, because I mean, if this is just generating scenes, like background, like extra things, and not main things that could be copyright infringement, whatever, then that might be okay. Like, if these people rented out a street for a day, and they messed up because of whatever, then they could easily fix it with AI. right? Now that is like an emergency situation, which I think a lot of people might be okay with. The dialogue and performances don't help either. Many conversations feel unnatural and written purely to explain the plot, while several characters are barely developed. The only thing I generally appreciated was the final twist, which was actually a clever idea and probably the closest the film comes to having something interesting to say. Unfortunately, Ice Cream Man isn't one of the movies that is so bad it's good. It's simply bad. I wouldn't recommend spending money to see it in the theaters. Wait for streaming instead. So this person still says it's like good to watch. So wait for it in streaming. So you actually did enjoy it then, which is pretty funny. This guy gave it 1 out of 10 also. Wow. Saying total pish. As a 70s born child that grew up watching classic tongue-in-cheek B movies like Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, Alligator, etc., and cult classics like The Evil Dead, Hellraiser, Nightmare on Elm Street, I thoroughly enjoyed a horror movie that has either gratuitous extreme gore or goes down the ridiculously bad to make you laugh while wincing route. That's funny. So cult classic. The Evil Dead is different, but Hellraiser, I really love Hellraiser. The first one, it's interesting. It's very different, I guess. Ice Cream Man wanted to be both and achieved neither. You can believe all the 1-star reviews that claim this movie to be claim this to be a movie you definitely will. Wish you had never bothered spending time watching. The only reason I didn't walk out of the theater halfway through was so I could feel a little more validated writing this panning review. Thankfully, I didn't spend money to see this as I am an unlimited card holder. What? If I had, I reckon we would all have a case to put together a class action lawsuit for compensation? Because for the AI or because of how bad the movie was? Wow. The only reason I didn't walk out halfway through the theater. Okay, well, yeah, sounds like he didn't like it. And then this guy gave it 6 out of 10, saying fun gore fest to not take seriously. Do not take this movie seriously, and you'll have a fun time. It's a throwback to 90s B movie horror. My partner and I had a good time while watching the movie. However, I didn't think it should have been a movie sent to the cinema, though. However, I don't think it should have been a movie sent to the cinema, though. They should have just streamed it. It's a fun gore fest for 1 hour and 30 minutes. Exact same runtime as the previous one that says it's not a remake of or anything. And then they say don't have ice cream while watching. LOL. Okay. Here, this is the last one I'll read. 1 out of 10. AI. Okay. Ice Cream Man somehow managed to make ice cream feel soulless using AI-generated imagery instead of hiring actual artists is lazy, cheap, and creatively bankrupt, especially for a brand that relies on visual appeal. Oh, now that's interesting. Artists deserve to be paid for their work, not replaced by algorithmic slop. If you can't afford to run a business, you can afford to support human creativity. The product may be sweet, but the decision behind the branding leaves a pretty bitter aftertaste. I don't understand this because I think a really good argument is that everything is getting so expensive, and it keeps becoming expensive because people are stealing money, by the way. There's corruption going on, and things getting more expensive. So people have to cut workers. So they're going to pick AI and robots because they're cheap. That's not anything to do with humans or whatever. That is having to do with the deep state or whatever that is, because Gavin Newsom's stealing the money, and Karen Bass is stealing the money, right? And that guy from whatever, that idiot guy from Wisconsin, or whatever the heck, what's his name? That dork, the guy who ran with Kamala Harris, Tim Waltz, whatever. That guy, they're stealing the money. They're stealing the money, and things are getting more expensive. I wonder why. We better, whatever. Let's do socialism, right? Like, let's go to that, right? Oh, it turns out we don't need that because things aren't really getting expensive because of things are getting expensive. Someone's stealing the money and making it expensive. So how is that our fault of the fact that like we're trying to make a movie but we can't because things are too expensive, and we can't hire people because we have to pay for health insurance and all these other things and this and that, and you got to pay for this and that and this, and it's expensive and you can't do that anymore. So you find ways to save money. You use AI. It's the corrupt people in the world. It's not us. We're forced to use AI, like to keep the cost low. That's really it. Nobody really wants to use AI. There's enough talented people in the world that don't need AI. But on the low end, when you're starting on this movie thing, you can't compete upwards. You can't compete with billion-dollar studios. You know what I mean? If you're just starting, you can't afford Adobe Creative Cloud. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I mean, you could, but you know what I'm saying? Like, for starting out, you're like, I can't even make a movie. I can't even. Oh, but I can make a movie with AI, and it costs $100, not $100,000 that I don't have. I don't know. Anyways, I will wrap up that little AI rant. I think we're good on these reviews here. We can now go over to the Rotten Tomatoes. Rotten Tomatoes here has it at 28% from the critics and 51% from the audience. Wow. That's not amazing. Yeah. I feel like, I don't know. How would you have done this better? They should have just put it on YouTube. Doesn't Eli Roth have a YouTube channel or something? If he's doing this so independent or whatever, also put it on YouTube. Unless, I don't know how that works. All the contract stuff. I don't know how that works. Maybe they can't. Maybe they're not allowed to do that. Make a double profit. It's his movie. It's like he should do whatever he wants with it. See, that's the thing though. With the AI thing, it's like, that's up to him. He could do whatever he wants. It's his movie. Okay, critics reviews. Sarah Vincent from Sarah G. Vincent Views. I may have read these in the last episode. Oh, no, 14 hours. Okay, this one is recent, but I think she commented on another video. She says this movie is fresh. Roth is rightfully more concerned with mayhem than story, but with a little sprucing up of the latter and making the characters less useless or slow, a huge swath of the middle act would not begin to feel monotonous, so the ending hits harder. Man, they should have hired this lady. She would have given Mr. Roth some pointers. Matthew Pasantino from Big Picture Big Sound says it is rotten, saying it's just an empty exercise in gore. It could also be it could have been like an effects company, you know what I mean? A squib company or a props company, and the movie is literally an ad just for their props or whatever, which is something I've never seen before. Actually, I'm kind of wrong because all these action movies or whatever, they're all to sell toys, like Hasbro and all that. So, yeah, that's funny, though. They should do that, yeah. Use the entire movie to make an ad or whatever. Rosa Para from the Latino Slant says it is rotten, 1 out of 10. Ice Cream Man is like it's like empty calories, much like the ice cream it features. It's excessively gory without any meaningful story behind it. I mean, I watched the trailer in the last show for the 1995 one, and that one seems like there's actually more of like 3D, like it's actually more of like a narrative, like a story in it, which is hilarious that it didn't inspire a similar kind of a story to be put in this one or something. Carla Hay from Culture Mix says it's rotten. Ice Cream Man is polluted with too much bad acting and a flimsy story to be enjoyable. This misguided horror movie has a dreadfully dull chief villain and replaces suspense with blood-soaked gore and imagery of children being murderers. Huh. I've actually been hearing that some people compare. No, let me see. They're saying it's worse than Terrifier, and Terrifier is supposed to be snuff, and snuff is real violence. So Terrifier is trying to be very realistic, and it looks very realistic or whatever. You know, it's just got the violent meanness to it. And then Luis Bond Alvarez from Diario Las Americas. It says it's fresh, 3 out of 5. Its depiction of excessive violence involving children and sequences that straddle the line between gore and comedy make for a rather outlandish blend. One that will please genre fans but alienate critics and the general public. That is very true. And I think that is what is currently happening. I don't know. I like to joke around and say what I would have done, like what would I have done? And then make the, I don't know, like have the ice cream have like a curse to it, and then maybe I don't know, something like that or whatever. It would have to be a cursed ice cream, right? Because other than that, you're drugging people. You have to put LSD or some like angel dust in the ice cream, and you're drugging kids. This movie should have ended with the guy being arrested and charged in like a criminal trial. It should have been, they should have made like a fake news broadcast of it and played it during the credits. That would have been a realistic ending. Jess I, audience reviews now. Jess I gave it 1 star, saying this movie was absolutely terrible and boring. The trailers made it look good. Yeah, I guess I agree. But it was not good. I thought I was going to fall asleep watching it. I would not recommend seeing this movie. The trailer made it look good, but it was really lame, and I was something. So that's unfortunate. The trailer made it look good. The trailer, it looks a lot like the old one. I don't understand that, and it's not a remake or whatever. It was. Okay, whatever. This lady gave it a half a star, saying horrible in a very bad way. And Rohan D gave it 1, 2, 3, 4.5 stars, saying it really is not that bad. Exactly what I expected. If you go in expecting a fun gore slasher film, you'll come out pleased. It's far from a masterpiece, but it was never gonna be one. The review bombs from people who don't like Eli Roth is ridiculous. It literally something. So that's there's also people who don't like Eli Roth. Is that a thing? Is that a thing? People don't like Eli Roth or whatever? I know Earl Sweatshirt made that song or the line, whatever, eating applesauce, watching Eli Roth, whatever. But that was a long, long time ago. So I don't get. Is there hate for Eli Roth? I don't know. There would have to be different types of hate. There would have to be, I hate his directing, I hate his writing, and I hate his acting, because he plays that big guy who kills the guy in Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds. So, and he plays a guy who walks out of the tunnel with a baseball bat and beats that guy to death. So I think you have to separate this into Eli Roth is a good actor. Eli Roth is an okay writer, but he's not a good director. But how do you say that when Thanksgiving is highly rated and he's making a sequel or a third one of that? Obviously this Eli Roth needs some direction. He's, I don't know, someone's like assigning him to these things. It looks like he is all over this. This looks like his idea. He wants to adapt Ice Cream Man from 1995, which this is not a remake or anything to do with any of the We All Scream for Ice Cream. It's nothing to do with that. This is completely separate, even though it's very similar. I don't understand that. It could just be that this was the only rights he could get. He needed another project to continue getting funding for his studio. I don't know. You know what I mean? What is it? I think he's independent, but he's worked with Tarantino, so he must be involved in the Hollywood or whatever in some way. And Bipolar gave it 5 stars, saying starting. I did not see the original. I enjoyed it. It felt like a grim fairy tale. Okay, funny. It doesn't matter if you'd see the original. It's not like it, apparently, in his words. And then the last one is Green Tea. I gave it half a star, saying Eli Roth is the real world necromancer, the true source of the evil he depicts. What? Just as the film's priest manipulates children into destroying their families, Roth manipulates audiences into considering despair for profit. He bypassed moral oversight to indulge in AI, I'm assuming. What? Can you believe this guy says that? Okay, well, it really looks like people do have an issue with Eli Roth. Why, though? I didn't know that. Is this guy actually... like, people have a problem with him or something? Did he do something? I don't think he said anything like Israel, whatever, or Palestine, or right? I'm assuming he probably stays out of that stuff or something. I don't know. So, yeah, that is good on the Rotten Tomatoes. And now my final thoughts for this film, Ice Cream Man. 3.9 stars. Yeah, I don't know what I would have. I mean, I don't get why. Like, it's... Hey, let me read the trivia. I'll show you what I already read it in the last one. But, yeah, it literally says, not a remake of Ice Cream Man. Nor an expansion of We All Scream for Ice Cream in '07. What? Like, do you... Like, why, though? You know, like... why? Why can't it be a remake? It's literally similar. It's like I don't get that. It's not a remake, but it has the same name. It looks the same. It has all the same shots. It has the same premise, the same story, the same, like, come on. And it's not a remake? Really? I don't, why? How would that not be a remake? At least it was low. Wow, not low enough. Should have been $1 million. It would have been fine. They couldn't shave off $4 million. Really? They couldn't have made this with $1 million. I don't get that. That's the problem. I think the real problem is, I don't know why remake a freaking movie? Make up your own. This guy just could have called it Sweet. He could have called it Sweet, and, you know, maybe, I don't know how dark it's gonna go, but maybe he's killing people and putting them in the ice cream or something. I don't know, you know, or the guy, like, the premise would be this: an idyllic summer town descends into madness when an ice cream man serves kids sweet delights with horrifying results. Upon becoming discovered by 2 local detectives, the ice cream man begins to create his next phase. And that would be the cops trying to figure that out and find out what he's got next, he's going to do. And the ice cream man somehow, maybe even legally, buys an ice cream factory or something of his own. And then kids start going missing or something. And maybe he's even tricked everybody to hate the detectives. And he's trying to tell them all that, hey, this guy's killing kids and putting them in the ice cream. And whatever. And it could be really dark. And then all the names of the ice cream are puns. They're making fun of the human body or whatever, right? But that could be a better premise. Because, yeah... I don't know. Or I'm not even a better premise, but just a little addition to the premise, you know? And again, if this isn't a remake, he should have made his own movie. He could have called it Sweet and done his own thing. You know, maybe he even makes it where the government is killing people and they're trying to get rid of, reduce the jails crowding or something, and they're killing people and putting them in ice cream. and then the two detectives are trying to convince the public. That could be it. That could seriously really be it. Or maybe even the ice cream man is under a curse, or he's not himself, Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what else to say, really. I think he just shouldn't have done a remake. I'm sick of these remakes. He's doing a sequel to his Thanksgiving. Is that it? No more original ideas? I don't know. Very weird. Yeah. So in the end, Ice Cream Man flopped with an unfortunate $3 million out of a $5 million budget. I said it was going to be in tough place and make $10 million, but it did end up in 8th place. And here are the upcoming films that we'll be checking out in the next episode. We'll be Fauci is what? Is that Anthony Fauci or no? Isn't that guy's got a C in his name? Fauci. Okay. So Fauci, well, that comes out on the 13th, which is on the Thursday. So that's going to be new things. So, oh yeah, I was saying that this is going to be a big show coming up. Wow, this might be the most movies I have to check out on this show. I guess Prathengera, that's probably what? Indian or from India? I don't know if that's an India studio. I don't know. I could be wrong. So I guess we'll be checking out Fozzie. And then we're gonna be checking out The Brink of War from Angel Studios. So this is the next film after. What was the last one they just did? They did David, and they did the terrible Andy Serkis one. Whatever that one is called. Animal Farm. That's what it's called. So yeah, we'll be checking out The Brink of War from Angel Studios. It's like the 4th or 5th film from them. They're pretty awesome. The End of Oak Street is the other one. I think is that Steven Spielberg? No, I don't know who this is. I don't know. We'll find out. Coming up, Warner Brothers, and then Paw Patrol the Dino movie from Paramount. Isn't Paramount and Warner now together, right? So they have 2 movies from the merger. This is now together. That's good. Some stuff for the kids. Great. That's cool. Yeah, from Paramount. And then we got The Rivals of Amzia King from Black Bear Pictures. I have zero idea what that's going to be. Matthew McConaughey. All right, that's crazy. From Black Bear. Then we have Wet Hot American Summer. Oh, this is a re-release. Okay, we're not going to be checking out Wet Hot American Summer, but I do believe that this is a movie that made a lot of people very popular. Yeah, Paul Rudd, Molly Shannon. Who's the other guy? Didn't Bradley Cooper? I think he was in it when they were young or something. I don't know. So yeah, okay, we're not going to be checking out that one. The Wrong Girls from Neon, not the streamer. So The Wrong Girls, a weed movie. Is that a bong with a what's it called? A cephalopod or whatever? Cephalopod or whatever. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't want to read too much. So cool then. And then Your Name is a re-release. Yeah, we're not going to be watching that one. Even though, oh my god, it's anime. Well, maybe I do. We'll see. Yeah, it's pretty much already. Yeah, it's a re-release. Oh, I mean, whatever. So it made $354 million. Jesus, it doesn't need any help then. So that's good. So that is pretty awesome. Yeah, so we'll be checking out Fozzie, The Brink of War, The End of Oak Street, Paw Patrol, the Dino movie, The Rivals of Amzia King, and The Wrong Girls, I guess. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 movies next in the next episode. So that is pretty cool. And then it's also going to, The End of Oak Street will be in IMAX. So that's awesome. And then these are even more future ones. Oh, I might have a big episode over here. Hotspot, Insidious, It Ends, Mutiny, Spa Weekend, and Tony. I wonder if there's gonna be any more like that. Oh, Coyote versus Acme. I am so looking forward to that one. That is gonna be so much fun. 4 kids walk into a bank. Wow, it's gonna be determined. They haven't even. That's interesting. And then here's another big one. Wow. Anyway, yeah, that is pretty cool. These will be the next movies we check out in the next episode. And that will wrap up this episode of Mike on Mike. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you in the next episode. Peace.